So my name's Doug Hagstrom. I'm one of the hosts of the Pregnancy Focus Group, which is our session today. And the other host is Laura, and our special guest is Beth Kyle. Our contact details are here. And I'll just get Laura and Beth to wave and say hello.
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 Great. So we are here, and what we've got you doing here, and we've done a great job of so far, is jumping on the Miro board and showing where people are. And the big change from when we did this in June is clearly that we've got lots of people who are actually in a real office, which I think is a nice change. And I am in an airport, which is I had to travel for personal reasons. So great to have you here. Laura and I will just give a quick introduction of why we're here and what the focus groups are all about. We're in the intro pres frame on Miro if you want to join along there. So this is the pregnancy and postpartum focus group, and our goal today is some stakeholder mapping with our special guest, Beth. The idea of Tech4Eva is that this is an innovation platform for femtech startups, and it's really bringing together startups, corporations, other people working in the field of femtech and women's health. And the focus group, there's been a number of different things that have happened. There are smaller companies, larger companies, but across all of it, there's an attempt to build a community which is around the focus groups. So we're part of a 9-month program where we're halfway through, and we have some of the people who are running the program joining the call as well. Nicola and Barbara and and Lance joining as well. Do you want to say anything about the program, Nicola or Barbara or Lan? How things are going?
Sorry. Hi everyone. Yeah, great. No, it's everything is running smooth. We're happy to have you all together today. The focus groups are very important because they gather the visions and the insights and the knowledge of everyone. So please be interactive. Please share with each other. The purpose is to know each other, just to network, to get to make our network more bigger than it is before, and to learn better, to grow the business as well, probably not directly in the focus group, but indirectly with the new connection. And what is most important is to have fun, I think.
Thank you, Nicola. This is a little bit on the focus groups themselves. The idea, as Nicola said, is networking and an opportunity to meet each other. We've already had a meeting. We had one meeting where we had 25 participants, and we spoke about what do we actually want to get out of the pregnancy focus group. And what we decided out of that was that we wanted to, one, is look at what's the pregnancy journey, which is what today is all about, which is why we have Beth here, and Laura will do an introduction with Beth shortly. And then we also wanted to look at networking and exchange and how to share information around key opinion leaders and communities, and also work with corporates and pitching, and that will come later in the year. What we wanted to do, as we said, was understand the pregnancy journey, and understand really what is the value chain in pregnancy, and also what's the corporate opportunity, and work together. So they're the goals that we'll be getting to. the network is really the most important thing that we'll build in terms of deliverables. And in terms of activities, we're here on the second session, which is the pregnancy journey. So I've now said more than enough. I would now like to actually hand over to Laura and Beth to introduce themselves and a little bit around what the plan is for the day. So I'll hand over to you, Laura.
Thank you. So hello, everybody. So we already met in the first session, but in this session, we have a very special guest, Beth. So Beth, tell us a few words about yourself.
Sure. I'm a user experience designer. I am in Indiana in the United States. And I got involved with this because Doug actually found my a pregnancy experience map that I created. So I was working on my master's in human computer interaction and design at Indiana University. And I focused my thesis work on pregnancy and technology and really dove into that specific subject. And so he found my experience map and contacted me and asked if I would be happy to join. And I thought it sounded pretty cool. I'm really excited to hear more about what you all are working on and the things that, you know, I think that the area itself has so much room to explore and to build new things, really from a femtech perspective. I got into the pregnancy field because, well, when I was working on my master's, right when I started, I had a newborn, and I also had like a 17-month-old. So at the time, I had just spent a good portion of my life actually being pregnant. And so then when I was given some different courses in like I had a course in design and then courses in methods and such. So I chose pregnancy at the time because I thought it was an interesting subject and I didn't see a lot out there. And it was something that I had personal experience with that, you know, that I could bring that to it. So, and since then, it started in just a class for a methods class where I built the experience map, and then eventually went on when I was doing my thesis to explore the entire thing. And so what you see on that Miro board is a poster that that was the outcome of, you know, a poster session where we went through what our research was. And you see that I did a lot of different visualizations to try to further explore the pregnancy and technology. Looking at both what technology was out there at the time, this was in 2013, versus what new things we could do and different ways to focus on it. So.
Thank you. So it's very interesting because you did this work a few years now ago, and today you will have the opportunity to exchange with participants who may have made your vision true or have invented something new. Right. So I know you are excited about meeting people. Can people reach to you after the focus group if they want to discuss further visualization or collaborate with you?
My contact information is on the Miro board, and I'd be happy to have more discussions and discuss, you know, about the idea of where I went. And it has been a while, you know, since I did this stuff. So I just think it's really cool that you all are working further and maybe doing some, because I did like a mass ideation of lots of different concepts and didn't necessarily, you know, settle on specific ones. But I just think it's so great that there's more out there that's being done, and I want to learn more about what you guys are working on too. So.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Okay, so Doug, you're on mute.
Hi. Yes. Yeah. So now the next session is actually a chance to speak. Beth is going to present a little bit of her stakeholder mapping. And this is a chance for you guys to actually think about where you are and learn a little bit around the process of stakeholder mapping. And then also, this is going to be the introduction to our group work, where we'll look at how we can think about how stakeholder mapping and thinking about stakeholders can influence how you do design. So I'll, on the Miro board, bring everyone over to the stakeholder mapping section, or actually we start with the pregnancy experience map. Is that right, Beth?
Yes. So just trying to get the boxes here. So I first was just going to give an overview of the pregnancy experience map.
Sure.
So
do you want to share your screen, Beth? And then you can...
Yeah.
For anyone, so people again have the choice of either following on Miro or following in Zoom.
Okay.
For some people, it depends on your whether you get sick or not looking at the Miro board.
Okay. So as I had mentioned, the first thing that I did, or visualization that I did in my research, was working on this pregnancy experience map. And some of it came from just my own personal experience of having to go through those things and knowing which different, what timeframes are. Now, experience maps are common tools used in user experience design processes. You could have a customer journey map or a user experience map. Usually it's something to visualize over time or over a certain place what is going on. So with mine, pregnancy lends itself well to an experience map because it's an allotted amount of time. There's a beginning and an end eventually. So, and typically it's 40 weeks. So then we can also see, we can track the experience of the pregnant mother over time, and also the activity of growth and development of the child, and then the different things that happen during those times. So when we look at obviously fetal growth and activity, that's the development of the child. Then viability is the time frame that it makes to when the fetus can actually, or the baby can survive outside of the womb. And then and it's really it's a very touchy subject, and we have a lot of things, a lot of people that I know as a pregnant woman, it was always like looking at gauges of time frames that you can go to see where you're at, especially from an emotional perspective or just possibilities. And then we also noted, I noted typical OB visits, so they're going to the doctor, at least from my experience. And, this is the overall. It's not necessarily everyone's experience. If you have a high risk pregnancy, you might go more frequently and whatnot. But and then just common tests and looking at, this is where the experience itself becomes, or emotional itself comes in, is that we're trying to look at what the potential emotional experiences could be in the fetal tests. And then also just, I pulled out information about planning because, although this is a health experience, it's also a major life experience. So there's different things that go on while you're doing that, while you're in this experience, that you're then moving on to a next phase in your life with different things. So I think we'll move over to the stakeholder map at this point. But did anyone have any questions or anything about the experience map itself?
Yes, maybe I have one. I'm just wondering, what with the pregnancy experience, how to integrate dimension of a professional woman that has to work alone during this pregnancy. You're talking about in the medical point of view, visit, etc., viability. So for me, also being professional all along by two pregnancy, I think it would be. Is it relevant, or I think it's for me at least? I think it's to integrate the dimension of professional life all the way along the pregnancy.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Professional life and also restrictions of any things, if depending on the field that you're in and what you're required to do. I think it would be definitely an interesting aspect to think about. I didn't put it in here, but I understand what you're getting at because I was working full time during both my pregnancies as well. So it's definitely, having to make time for doctor's appointments, having to do those types of things is definitely, it's important to think about. So.
I have another point question. Do you focus, or do you handle the before pregnancy? So there is a lot of at-risk pregnancy, and we know that the problem is coming months before, even years before. Do you consider that into your thinking, your design, your journeys?
Well, during my project, I definitely did include that, especially because, you know, people experience infertility overall. So it's part of, you know, when you look at anxiety levels, you notice that there's a one specifically for infertility. So the difference between someone who hasn't had problems conceiving versus someone who's just, you know, became pregnant without worrying about it or without having to struggle for it. So I definitely think that's an thing. And also, you know, the different types of tests and things like that that happen would be slightly different in medications too. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
no,
I mean, and just, yeah. So, and also because we had the different focus groups, I actually asked Beth to focus on just the pregnancy and bit going forward. And I think
No, of course, yeah. It's a big.
but it's definitely something you can't ignore during the pregnancy experience either. People who experience infertility, then eventually succeed in becoming pregnant, and then their experience is filtered by that.
Yeah. Well, my question was not really on the fertility side, which is indeed handled by another focus group, but we could have talked about this a little bit, but more the risk that the risk. But I think you answer it quite clearly, Beth. Disconnected from the fertility, there are some risks of miscarriage or problems which are coming between, I mean, during the 9 months, but potentially we can identify them, we can frame them, we can coach them before the conception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Has anyone of the startup teams or things done a journey like this to understand where before? Or has anyone looked at it in this way with the multiple different layers, or is there a layer that they think is missing?
I mean, we did like kind of user journey. I think this is much more detailed than anything we did, and also we're more interested in the part of after the birth, so which also part of the whole pregnancy. So the postpartum.
Okay. So then
Right.
another piece. Are we good to move to the stakeholder map discussion, Doug? Cool.
I think we are. Yep.
Okay. So another piece or visualization that I did was to look at the different stakeholders during the pregnancy experience. You know, from a very, you know, at the center obviously is the pregnant woman. And then in this stakeholder map now, a stakeholder map is common, I know, in a marketing term, but also in user experience, we use it to look at the different layers and levels of interaction that you have within your focused users, or you could have users that are external, or they're extraneous, not necessarily your prime focus, but still users that will be interacting with your tools. So then I looked at with the pregnant woman as the main, the central focus, what are the people around her? Now, people could be in multiple, you know, you could be a friend and another woman who's also pregnant or whatnot, so they can be in multiple stakeholder groups. But I tried to isolate specific stakeholder groups so that we could, so that you can think about the different types of technologies that might be available or used because of that. And then with that, I also looked at some of the examples of the technologies that might be there or that were there already. And then, you know, the level of interaction that we have. So we have the outer community. You have things like social media, but there's not, you know, people outside of do interact with, when you're a pregnant woman, you do interact with people outside of the community that you may or may not know. It also has your coworkers and things, your coworkers, your neighbors and such. you might not necessarily need any technology though for those things. Then if we look at the medical staff, obviously they have a whole other range of technologies that are specifically to pregnancy. And I did do a deep dive into like the history of medical technology when I was doing this thesis, to look at like the Dopplers and when they were invented and different other tools that they use, different testing mechanisms that, so, but that's a different layer. It's more medically, driven or health based, not as much social types of things. And then the family itself, obviously there's the family at their home or directly related to them that live with them or co-located. And then you also have, your external family, your parents, your siblings, other people, adopted parents, and the type of technology. Then you have other women, which shows experience of people like due date buddies, people that are going through the same thing at the same time. So they're both pregnant and should be having a baby around the same time, so they have that experience. Whereas you also see women with infertility. That's a different interaction of a woman who's trying to get pregnant versus someone who's already pregnant, and how that experience is. And then your friends and how you share with them. So these are the groups that have been isolated from here. I mean, so I don't know if from all of you, I think Doug, we said that we wanted them to maybe take their.
Yep. So first of all, any questions around the stakeholder map, and then we will jump into today's exercise. Cool. All right, then the first exercise of today is actually for you guys to place on the stakeholder map, where are you? So where in that, where is your primary connection and things? So is it the connection between the pregnant woman and medical staff? Is it the connection between the pregnancy and other women, or is it the connection between is it just the pregnant woman herself and there's no external collaboration? So I have put everyone's name just above the stakeholder map, so you can grab there and move there. If there's someone or people who are not so au fait with Miro or haven't been able to log in, let me know, and you can put that in the chat where you actually see yourself. And we need to put everyone on the board because that's going to be the basis for what we do in the group work later on. So I'm just looking at Sharon and Viveka. Have you not been able to get on the Miro board, or are you sorry, I'll put the Miro board link again in the chat.
I'm able to see it. I'm able to get there, but I'm not able to put my name in post-it. I'm sorry.
And I will say, if I may also, I'm missing maybe the payer perspective, if maybe I'm not seeing that. I mean, aside from the medical staff, the insurance, the insurer, or the provider itself.
Yep, I think that's probably a good addition. I think let's move that directly. Are you straight from pregnant woman to provider, or are you staff and then provider?
That can be either or.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Just.
No, I'm not able, so I need to join the Miro.
Okay. I've now put a payer link in for everyone. So Sharon, you're not able to join?
I don't see, I need to sign up to that, I guess. Just a minute, I haven't used Miro.
Yeah, but Sharon, I can put you in the payer section for now.
Thank you.
And then our newly created payer section. Viveka, how are you going?
Well, I can see the slides and I can see mirror, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be doing some editing.
Sorry, just hold on. Yeah, so what I'd like you to do is just, sorry, is place yourself on on the stakeholder map. So where are you, in terms of your product, do you have a connection between the pregnant woman and medical staff, pregnant woman and community, do you connect to other women?
Right. So do I do this with my sticky note?
So just move your sticky note on the Miro board.
Okay.
I don't see it.
I'm in the medical. Can you see me now?
Yep, I think. So Viveka, where should I move you to?
To medical staff.
Medical, okay. And Lifa and Florine. Oh, Florine, you're moving yourself, so I'll just remove you from the top. And Eredice, sorry for that terrible pronunciation.
No problem. I think it's between the medical staff and the pregnant women, and also the family and the pregnant women.
Okay, I might put you family and pregnant woman just for a bit of variety there. And Lifa?
Sorry, I think I'm on it twice. So I'm also Lisa Zulka. And it's
okay.
Lisa here, so I don't know if...
Okay, that's perfect. So I think we've got everyone is on the board. So, and everyone's had a chance to place themselves. I was originally, yeah. So what I'm going to do is everyone, we're going to have two groups. One is the medical group, which is group one, and the second is everybody else. So the family group. So in the group work section, which we'll start now, so we need two meeting rooms, one called medical and one called other, or family and payers maybe, or other connections. And the goal of the group work now is for you to go there and to give a very short, one sort of 30-second introduction to yourselves, what your product does, and why you've chosen that particular connectivity, and how that stakeholder impacts you.
Will you split the groups? Because I would actually prefer to be in the medical group if that's possible.
Okay.
I can.
I think you'll have the choice once they're created.
Good. Thank you.
Barbara, are you creating?
Yes, I'm here.
Two groups?
So, yep, I'm assigning right now.
And great. And there are there's 2 working spaces where you can ignore the group allocation section. You can just go straight to the group work. And like I said, group 1 is medical, and group 2 is other connections or other stakeholders.
I don't see everybody in the medical, so like fluorine.
I think people can just make their own choice. I think we're okay with that. I think so. If you just name the 2 groups and let them choose, or if you need to, if you have to allocate them, then allocate them.
Yeah, I think I will have to allocate them. Okay, I cannot give them. Okay, let me just check. Okay, no, I can. Perfect. I will just let them choose.
All right. So the task you enter the room is introduce yourself. What is it that you do? Why did you choose that particular stakeholder group? And you will have about, let's say, we're not looking at the timing here, we're about on time, about 5 minutes. Or no, actually, let's go for 8 minutes to do that. So I'll start a timer, which you'll see on the Miro board as well.
All right.
Get started.
So I'll open it the room so that you can decide where to go.
Yeah.
Do we have the links in the chat, or where do we find the rooms?
The rooms should flash up on your Zoom screen.
Yeah.
Sometime.
I see some people have already starting to go in the room, so should be working.
If you don't find it, you can on Zoom, you can look at the down bar and you should find out breakout rooms.
Yeah.
If it doesn't flash to your screen, and then you can choose.
Okay.
Medical staff or the other.
Yeah. Lara, do you want to join? Which group do you want to join?
I can join medical staff.
Okay.
What is the? I cannot find the groups. I'm sorry.
At the bottom of the Zoom screen, you'll see breakout rooms on the bottom on the footer. Welcome back, everyone. How did we go on the exchange around stakeholders in the medical group?
It was too short.
Too short. Okay.
We were just starting. So we just met very interesting people that were ready to start a conversation. So maybe you get it further along.
Yeah, we got a little bit further. We had a smaller number of people in terms of teams, so it was a bit easier. So we've got 35 minutes left, and conversations are important, and we hope that people will continue them afterwards. But what we'd like to do is share a little bit some thoughts around how you can describe your interactions with stakeholders and how it impacts you. And we're going to do that through the idea of a concept poster, which Beth will introduce. And then I'd like you to sort of see what you can do around one of the projects. So for the medical people, just choose somebody that you'd like to show. So, but Beth, I'll let you introduce the concept poster idea. You're on mute, Beth. It's 6 a.m, so it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Almost 7. So, so like Doug said, the point of the concept poster, this is pretty general, but we want to have a conversation, right? So the idea is that you pick one concept from your group, and then you come up with the overall headline would be more along the lines of like how you would sell this product or whatnot, and then a storyboard inside that kind of demonstrates the purpose and the overall goal of the project or the tool. So I have this example here, this is becoming a big brother. And let's say that there's a video game that's for new siblings to learn about the pregnancy experience, right? So this would be for, and then we isolate to say which concept, which stakeholder group it's for, and then try to go deeper into it, say specifically what subgroup of that stakeholder group it's for. And then there's a statement here. So because of our stakeholder group, we are mindful of the following features and functions in the design of our concept. So in this example, you're gearing it towards teaching young people about an experience, trying to help them relate to a new sibling as they're, in a new way that they haven't experienced before. They're trying to keep things simple but accurate so that they understand, the process and it's not mysterious. And then get them excited because it could be something that could be scary. They're not sure about how, what it's going to be like to have a new sibling. And just so in this example, you see, we're just trying to figure out what because of that stakeholder group and that subgroup, what do I need to keep it in mind as I'm creating this concept or whatnot. So on the boards, we put some outlines on there for you to work. And then Doug, I'll let you want to talk about the breakups and break.
Yes. So what we're doing is now working. So this is getting to a working part of the interesting conversations that Laura was just talking about. So with the medical group, I think we'll split you into 2, and with the family and others, it'll be returned to the same group. So for the medical group, when you see medical room 2, just look at it, and if there's, try and split yourselves evenly between the 2.
Maybe we can have, because we have 2 startups, so maybe we can have Unicor in one group and Matthias with your products in the second group.
Okay.
Perfect. Sorry, Laura, I think I can join Matthias too, because I don't have the opportunity to present myself, but I am in at-risk pregnancy too.
Okay, great. And then the other participants just choose one or the other. We try to be balanced.
One thing to note is that it's easier if you want to draw a picture for your storyboard or whatnot. It's easier just to draw it on your own paper and then take a picture and drop the picture into the Miro board itself. So that's what I did here. So that's something that you can do as well if you're.
All right. So
yes.
I create 3 breakout rooms.
Yes. One. Sorry, background.
No worries. I've opened 3 rooms at the moment, so you can all choose where to go. If someone doesn't know how to get into a room, you just tell me where to go and I'll assign you.
Thank you.
I'll join the second medical room, and Laura, if you
I go in the first. Okay.
The first one. Yeah. Yes. So there's Matthias and so Matthias is in room medical 1, and medical 2 is the other group, and I'll join medical 2.
And Mika, if you can just put me in any medical room, I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Medical 2, maybe.
Medical 2.
That's fine.
Yeah, and Nicola, you return to the family/corporate discussion.
Family, and Florine, you prefer?
I would like to join. I'm sorry for my voice.
That's okay.
I would like to join Matthias' group if possible.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Great. We've got a couple of minutes now. I'd like just to give one highlight from each of the groups. So just we'll start with maybe Matthias and that group. Who was your stakeholder in particular, and was there a specific medical practitioner you spoke about, and what was the one? Did you have an aha moment during the time where you saw sort of a new perspective of that professional?
Yeah, so we are developing a rapid preeclampsia test. So it's really an in vitro diagnostic test to support medical professionals. So in particular, obstetricians, gynecologists, midwives. So these are the stakeholders who will apply the test. Particular aha moment, I'm not sure if you're relating to today's meeting or in general. I think there were plenty, but I guess in general, the aha moment for diagnostics is, it's really complicated to approach the patient directly. So in particular, in our case, we have to involve the medical professionals. So that sort of makes sense. And to try to change current routines is quite difficult. So I think it's a slow process, and it needs a lot of stamina to change these processes.
Well, what's one thing that changed in your design from your discussions and understanding of that process?
I think initially we wanted to be like a more of an integrated solution where the patients sort of have access to their data, and we sort of deviated away from it. So to pure have a diagnostic test is just a result out and not a lot of connectivity needed here. So sort of going back to the, let's say, old style, because it's not needed in this frame.
So, all right. Well, the Blanca and the Family and Others group were trying to create a bit of a new style connectivity. Who would like from that group to give a brief summary of what you learned today and briefly what your product is? Blanca or someone else?
Beth, shall I go?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we have very interesting conversations. I think one of the things we didn't get to finalize the task, but I think the interesting part was how we all agreed that women are underrepresented and even at a stage as important as pregnancy, women feelings and symptoms are not that much taken into account. So we were discussing about community because sometimes you need not only the medical expert, but also like someone else that is going through the same as you are to support you. And we believe that we can create a community that it remains for a lifetime. And so we said creating a lifetime community while creating new life. So those people you share challenges with can share the rest of the challenges throughout pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, and so on. Sorry, I think we got on but basically, yeah, and how to adapt that to the corporate part as well, and how to even help women identify before before they actually start the pregnancy journey, whether they're going to have any conditions. So with the data and the community, there are lots of things that we can do.
Beth, what was your reflections on the discussion?
I think it was very interesting to talk about, how community is so important for women and having being heard, and then that there's if you come from, whether you're coming from an infertility to try to get pregnant or whether you've had issues in the past, that it's important that you can have a shared experience with other people. So that's why apps like this are helpful, because people going through similar things or other women going through similar things can help to make it a better experience, or at least calm anxiety and fears in that way. And also that women are heard, and that we design things for the women, not just putting a label on it saying, or making it pink and saying this is for women, but that women need to be taken seriously as far as symptoms are concerned, and how their emotional experience is important to the pregnancy as well. So,
yeah, great. And then the last group was the Yoni Care people. Yoni Core, sorry. I should have known it if I was there. Core, of course. What did you learn today, or how did you think about the way you think about gynecologists and how you'd include them in your product in the future?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a bit challenging. And we'll have to see, maybe to divide it to gynecologists in inpatient and outpatient. Because once it's inpatient at the hospital, there might be more biased for operation. And so maybe how can we get to the gynecologist that already in contact with women during the pregnancy and before the pregnancy, before we get into the hospital and before they're starting to have the symptoms. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's good, because I think it is, the goal of today was just not to solve every problem, but to just bring some perspectives and help you think about, how those stakeholders influence the work that you do early on, in all aspects of it. So the last thing we'll do before I'll ask Beth for a brief reflection is the outro. So I'll take everyone to me on the Miro board, and what I'd like you to do is give some feedback. So what we're trying to do always in these sessions is try and improve them and learn from what's good and what we can do to be better and things. So if you can add a sticky note, what did you like in that quadrant? What did you wish had happened today? And some idea, which wished is a bit sort of, this is a bit of an American thing, because we can't say anything's bad, but wished is sort of things that could have been better. And then any questions you still have or ideas is how things could be even better. So either add here directly on the Miro board, or if you'd like, could do. Or if you just put in the chat, I can add them to the Miro board, or you can shout out as well. And I'll give everyone a minute to do that. Right, great. So what was, I think, good? I think the framework, the interactive session was good. More time. I think that's definitely true. Last time we had 2 hours and we felt we were aiming for 1.5 was right. And I think maybe we do need to have a 2-hour session to give people more time to get to know each other better. So I think that's good feedback. And some ideas for the future around data sharing and corporate journeys. I think we plan to do some work around corporates. So maybe that we'll try and do that with a bit more time as well. And I see that Sharon has added a link to her lab in Tel Aviv. So that's something for people to connect to. So thank you very much from my perspective. It was great to have you along, great to start working around the community around pregnancy and postpartum. Lara, anything to add before we give Beth the final word?
No, it was very nice to see you again, to learn a bit more than in the first session. I think I agree with the participants that it's easier in smaller groups, so we will keep that in mind for the next sessions. And yes, I am happy to see that the ideas are things that we plan to do. Some of them at least. So I hope to see you in the next sessions.
Thanks very much from me. Beth, what are your thoughts on today?
I just I'm really happy to join you today. I think that it was an interesting discussion. I know there's always room for more discussion. I think that I'm really interested in all the topics that you are working on, and I'll be following along as you go. And if you have any questions or want to talk to me directly, you can feel free to email me at bethkyle@gmail.com, and it's on the Miro board as well. So,
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. And thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. It was great to have you along. I'm glad I found you on the interweb. It was great to actually have that connection and someone who's done work and thinking around the different design aspects for pregnancy.
And it's nice for me to dust off my research and get back to something that I find really important. So it's good.
Yeah. Great. That's all. The next session is in, I think, the beginning of October, but you'll get some updates on that. I think, as you say, maybe let's look at spending a bit more time and having time to really get to a concrete outcome. That's all from me. People are I don't think you'll get kicked out if you'd like to stay on. I have to get a plane, but for everyone else, feel free to stay on and have a chat if you have any questions with people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.